access. This is a follow-up to the step-by-step hunt on Magnum. We had a couple questions on how was I accessing the woods to try to hunt Magnum. Great question. Definitely should have been covering this in the video. So here was the major benefit. And if you haven't seen the other video, you're gonna wanna watch that first, otherwise this isn't gonna make any sense. The major benefit of having a deer that has a zone, has somewhere that they won't seem to cross these certain perimeters, is it gives you a great idea of where they're not gonna be most of the time. So when it comes to access, that can be easy because now you may bump other deer. There might be other deer that you have to walk through a little bit, but for me, I wasn't really concerned about those other deer. So the first half of the year, when I told you guys, you know, that I knew roughly that this was Magnum bedroom that's highlighted here. That was where that first photo was. And that he was, I felt as though he was in here. Our access, depending on if it was a west wind or an east wind, was either from down here or down here. And the reason for that was I was quite confident that's not where he was going to be. I thought he was coming from the north 99% of the time, so I wasn't concerned about that. Now, the one time that I almost killed him in the evening, I did come from up here, and I came straight down like this and then cut across the field onto that edge. Anytime that I'm coming through a field, this one also had somewhat of a hill in the timber where I feel as though those deer could have seen out into the field. So I would try to stay as wide as I could and then take the most direct route right to the tree that I was getting into. I felt as though the more that I paralleled the timber, the better odds that somebody was going to see me in there and freak out. More importantly, that he was going to see me. So I felt as though if I picked out basically the tree and I walked the most perfect line towards it that I could, that I was giving myself the best access point. And so I did not like about this place was the fact that he had that hill, and once our leaves started falling, he was going to be able to see pretty well almost anywhere while he'd still be in good dense cover. So now when we got closer to when I actually killed him, we had an east wind, right? So wind was blowing like this. So we parked down here about where it shows on this house, and then we kind of cut at an angle, right like that, to where we sat. And the interesting thing about this is he came right up this edge. So I don't know how far away from he was probably 400 or 500 yards away from our truck still, but he came from an area that what I thought was outside of his zone. He had to have come from down here somewhere. Maybe he was out in that ag field on the west side. I don't know where he came from. I was expecting he was going to come from the north. So he kind of followed us in, but fortunately we were spread apart enough that it wasn't an issue and we were able to get to our stand. Thank God we were early because he might have busted us. But that was how we accessed that, and we did kind of the same thing there. We cut across, it was a pasture, we cut across it a little bit, but pretty much took the most direct angle right to the stand that we could and got set up before he ever got there. So hopefully that answers the access for you. If you get fortunate enough to have a deer that has really cut and dry zones, I think that that gives you a tremendous ability to use that to your advantage and access those places where he doesn't spend much time.